Hello there everyone, Metal Mike here, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we are going to be doing a album review. Now I know some of you saw a post that said it was going to be a Q&A, but there wasn't nearly enough questions for it to be a Q&A. So, I have two questions here from two people that I will be answering to start off the video, and I've decided that this might be just a thing that happens in every video that I will be posting. So, first off, uh, from Andrew Bush. I don't know if I pronounced your last name right. I'm sorry. His question is, do any band members wear battle jackets or are they exclusively for groupies? Now, with this question, it confuses me because really I think it just depends on the person. Most most modern day band members don't wear battle jackets or battle vests or whatever. Uh, but for the short period that I was in a band, it never pumped out anything, sadly. All of us wore battle jackets. As much as they were different, I always wore this one, my trusty 2-year old battle jacket. Uh, Buddy Johnny did. He always wore more like punk and glam metal and such. Whereas the other guy, Ted, he had loads of jackets and he would switch between them every time we hung out. He was never always a. He never stuck to just one vest. But then again, more, there are more bands out there that don't really care, if that makes any sense. Like, they'll just wear whatever they have on their backs onto the stage, which sometimes means some bands will be wearing the battle jacket, some won't be. Some will just be wearing a basic T-shirt, jeans, or whatever on stage get up they have. But that was a good question. Maybe that would be a good topic video to talk about. Anywho, from Oakley Harris, this guy is my cousin. Love him to death, but he asked me, favorite metal band so far? That is a really, really tough pick. I've listened to so much lately. Uh, if you hear shuffling around, that's my dog. She's just chilling there, staring at me as I make this video, kind of concerned about why I'm talking to a camera. But, I cannot pick a favorite band. Because I listen to a lot of different kinds of metal that narrowing it down to one simple band would be, in my opinion, stubborn and rude. Because I believe every band, no matter what genre you fit into or what type of music you make, whatever, deserves some kind of recognition. So if I was to pick a single band, I would be singling out the rest of the ones that I actually enjoy. That would be like, this is literally making me ask between which child I love more. It's not that easy of a pick. Anywho, back to the album review. That took longer than I expected, I'm sorry. Uh, GloryHammer, Tales from the Kingdom of Fife, or Fifi, or I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. But this was stemmed from a commenter on my first video. He asked for an album review, not an album review, a song review on a song known as The Unicorn Invasion of Dundee. And, well, I can't just review one song. That'll be way too short of a video, for one. And two, I do believe that when you listen to just one song out of an album, it's a little rude because the rest of the album a band puts so much work into. It costs them a lot of money. It costs them their time and energy, all of it, just to pump out a great album or a mediocre album. But anywho, so yeah, that's where this album review is coming from. I will touch up on that song. Don't worry about it. I don't remember his username. I do know his actual name, but I don't know if he wants me giving out that information, so I will not be saying his name. But anywho, let's start. I am going to preface this with I do not listen to power metal. I like power metal on occasion. In my opinion, it can only be probably every once in a while that I will listen to it. I cannot listen to it consistently, and I don't know if this is what soured my taste with this album. If I listen to power metal consistently, constantly, I end up getting very annoyed. Not because it's like repetitive or anything. I just honestly, I don't know what it is. I not only can I not take it seriously, which I can tell this album's not really meant to be taken seriously. I just seem to not be able to find anything new. What I mean by that is I will listen to I'll listen to, like, say, a death metal album. With how death metal is structured, you will always find something new with each listen on that album. You'll find, like, oh, they used this beat instead of this beat. They used this type of strumming instead of this type of strumming. So on. But with power metal, I can't seem to get that feeling. But I decided to put that all aside and actually give it a genuine review based off of themes, skill while playing, and replay value. Now, by themes, I mean, does it catch my attention? Like, in terms of lyrics, background story, whatever. And by skill, or whatever I said the second one was. By skill, I mean by, like, obviously how well they play their instruments, how well it sounds, how the production value is, so on. The third one, replay value. Would I be able to listen to this album again, literally right after I listen to it, or would I be able to come back to it sooner than later and listen to it? So, I'm going to be ranking it after I give, like, a synopsis on what I feel about the album, and I will be saying what I like about it in those three terms. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to start this off by saying it's cheesy. It is really cheesy, as you can tell by the origin song of how I discovered this album, The Unicorn Invasion of Dundee. I'm also going to say they love unicorns in this album, and I don't really get it, but it is cheesy in kind of a good way. Well, I like Dio. Dio is always cheesy, but always in a good way. It was cheesy enough to where it would catch your attention and bring a smile to your face, but not so cheesy that you'd be like, oh my god, and just log off and stop listening to it. But, anywho. The guitar tone. That is possibly the best part of this album. I'm not even fucking joking here. I love it. I really do. It's... I cannot express how much I love the guitar tone here. They obviously went for, like, an old school power metal sound, while also bringing in newer elements from newer bands. I'm going to say this now. You will find some music videos with this band that are cheesy, like on a Dio Holy Diver level. And you'll realize, like I did, the lead singer does not match his voice. Apparently, He's the lead singer of Ailstorm too, but I don't listen to them either. So I don't really know too much about him. Uh, but I'm not going to say that he has a bad voice. He sings really well, just not in a way that makes me go, wow. You understand what I mean? Probably not. I'm not very good at clarifying. But he's just, he's got a decent enough voice. It's not like, he's not as bad as other vocalists that can't quite seem to find their sound. I don't know. I do not think this was their first album. I think they did another one before it, but I haven't heard it. So I could tell he's practiced a lot, and it's obvious he was in Ailstorm. He's in Ailstorm too. So, yeah. I also really like their song Angus McFife or McFeefy or whatever. It's got, I don't know how to explain it. It's chuggy while also simultaneously being well balanced in every way. Like you can hear almost every instrument in almost a perfectly clear way. You can hear the vocalist just fine. It's perfect. And the solos. I will not. I will never bash this band's solos. I can't. They're so like. They show off the guitarist's skills so well, and they match the tone of their entire album. They're perfect for this album. They're perfect for each song. Each one's different in different ways. Each one's interesting in different ways. I cannot say enough about this album. Sorry, I was receiving a call from a number I didn't know. But I did find, while I like chuggy songs, for power metal it uses a lot, and I mean a lot of palm muting. And while that's fine, it just didn't seem to suit what they were going for, if that makes any sense. It just kind of seemed out of place that they would constantly go for what seemed like minutes on a single song. But while I don't like this, I also don't hate it. It confused me the first time that I realized that this was what was going on. And I don't know what to say about it. I really don't. I don't know whether or not I hate it about this album or if I like it with this album. It's a bit screwy. I'm not even gonna lie. No song in this album though feels exactly the same. That was something that I liked, because with most power metal, the reason why I cannot seem to listen to it is because each song in an album sounds generally the same. And I don't know what it is that they did here, but the variations in each song, it does not feel like one long, drug out, half an hour song. It really doesn't. It feels great to hear variation in this album. I love it. And, like, I'm gonna preface again. The tone is beautiful. They keep a consistent tone while also being able to play the song somehow a little differently. And in my opinion, if you're gonna write an album, that's how you should do it. You should keep a consistent tone, consistent theme, whatever. Just change it up a little bit somehow in each song. Now, there's one funny thing. There's a song in this album called Magic Dragon. Now that sounds cheesy enough, but the beginning part It reminded me of old school Castlevania, and I love that because Castlevania was one of my favorite games when I was younger. I would always go over to my friend's house and we would always play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and I loved it. That was like such a throwback to me. I know it's probably not what they were going for, but that's what it reminded me of, and it just blew my mind because it reminded me of something that I loved when I was a kid and still love today. And I cannot say that that part did not fit because it fit in with the song really well. And the use of other instruments besides guitars, bass, drums, and vocals was great. They somehow added it in so much. They added in so much with this album, and I cannot say that like it's bad. It's the use of the violins, trumpets, whatever. They did perfectly. Now, it's not like on I'm not going to compare them to Dio again, but it's like I don't know what to say about it cuz I like it a lot. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's it. Okay? It also gives the album a certain feel. It feels like fantasy. It's supposed to, too. It's a fantasy story. It's power metal, so on. It's supposed to sound like it's in a fantasy. Now, I'm not saying that every power metal band out there is fantasy based, but that's just kind of the vibe that most typically go for. And dude, the drummer on this album, ugh. If there's one thing I always look for, it's a solid drummer. On a constant basis. Solid drums that match with whatever's going on. That's all I want, really. That's all I want in an album. That's the only thing that I ask of an album is, well, not the only thing, I also like variation, but that's what I'm going to get to. Each beat and each song is never the same. That's also what gave me the variation feeling with each song, and I loved that. I love different beats. I love it because it doesn't make me feel like I am listening to the same song over and over and over and over again. I cannot I cannot put it down into smaller words how much I love and I appreciate the drummer for doing that. But there is a bad song here, in my opinion. It's kind of a ballad. It's slow. It's called Silent Tears of Frozen Princess. I don't know if it's of Frozen Princess or if I just typed it wrong in my notes because I was typing this up at like midnight. So, but it's a 10-minute long song, and I can usually stand that if there was more going on. There wasn't here. It was slow. It was really melodic, which was nice. But if they would have compressed that down into like 4 or 5 minutes, that would have been perfect. That would have been a perfect song near the end. That would have been great. But they didn't quite do that. They obviously stretched it out to 10 minutes, and I personally think it was filler. They just ran out of ideas near the end of the album, and they just needed to post this out. They needed something there. So they made this song, and I personally cannot listen to it. Every time it comes on, every time it came on when I was reviewing this album, besides the first time, I had to skip it. Like, I reviewed this in 3 different ways. One, the first time it was in definitely like this, it was a review of a constant, it was how do I explain this? I was thinking in depth with it. I was paying attention to every detail, every bit of it. And I regret that because when I came to this song and I listened to the full thing, I got bored by the halfway mark. I got bored by the halfway mark, and I hate when that happens. When a song gets boring halfway through or even below halfway through, I get pissed off because I expect a lot more from a song of that length. Next, I also cannot seem to stand Amulet of Justice. I don't know what it is. I just can't listen to it either. But the other way that I listen to this album is in a kind of casual way. I will listen to it like I would any other album on a normal day. And that's what's going to bring me to this next point. I cannot listen to those two, Amulet of Justice and Tears of the Frozen Princess, and I can't. I don't know what to say about it. I can't listen to it, even as a casual song. I cannot. It seems to just eat at me whenever I tried, and I couldn't do it, which sucks, because the rest of this album is great. And I can't usually say that about power metal. I really can't. I really don't like power metal. But, like, I want to say I love every bit of this album. But I can't. I really, really can't say I love everything about this album. Now, there was an instrumental in this album. It's called Beneath Cowdenbeath. Cowdenbeth, whatever. And I like it. It was out of the blue. I originally didn't think it fit because I got used to the vocalists singing, but I also seem to find that a lot of power metal bands do this, where they just kind of cut out the vocalist and do an instrumental. But this instrumental really wasn't that bad. It was actually really good, and I enjoyed it. Anywho, I'm gonna give this album my top 3 songs out of this album. First off, Unicorn Invasion of Dundee. It was so fast-paced and so good. The vocalist did perfectly. The lyrics were cheesy, but they were cheesy enough to where I paid attention, but not so cheesy to where I hated it. I love that song. And I will be putting it in my personal favorites playlist. It's really good. Now, second favorite, Beneath Cowdenbeath, because it was so out of the blue, and I loved it. It was high intensity while also maintaining the typical tone of the album, while also changing up a few things. Now, I'm going to rank it the way I said I was going to at the start of the video. Replay value, I'm going to start off. I personally cannot replay this album consistently. Sure, I'll probably listen to it every, 2 weeks or so, or every week or so, but I cannot replay it to the point to where I'll say, I can listen to this album in reverse all night long, and I will love it. I can't. I don't know how to explain it. It's good, but not good enough. The skills on every instrument were wonderful. Christopher Bowes, the lead singer, wonderful vocalist, perfect voice in my opinion. Every single instrument in this album, it matched. It was perfect. What was it? So replay. Forgot the third one. Oh, themes. Themes. Right. I like the themes here. It's ironically cheesy. They're trying to be cheesy, and I love it. I really do. And I just can't bring myself to say that I hate the themes here. I love it. The stories that they tell in each song are so diverse and interesting that I can say I love it. Anywho, I'm going to give this album out of a rank, in a rank out of 10, probably a solid 8.5 out of 10. While there were really great songs here, while there were really good themes here, few songs were lacking. They were lacking severely, and that makes me sad to say. I love this album, I severely do, but I don't love everything about it. I mean, pick it up, listen to it. Even if you're not a fan of power metal, check it out. It's really not that bad. It's really good even. But I cannot say that it's a solid 10 out of 10. I don't think I could give any album that review in all honesty. But do pick it up, do listen to it, do check it out, please do. These guys do deserve support. I'm going to provide their Bandcamp link in the description below. And yeah, now this is the part of the video where I do an album recommendation. This album does not usually fit with the rest of this album, with the rest of this review. It is typically really different. So today, I'm going to be recommending, let me pull it up real fast. Oh crap, I don't know where I put it. I'm going to be recommending Untimely Demise, No Promise of Tomorrow. It's a perfect album. I picked it up on cassette, and I didn't end up getting the cassette for a long time. I talked to them on Facebook. Apparently there was some stuff going on where they live at, and they were so kind and so understanding that they sent it to me. I really appreciate that from them, and just everything about this album that I just recommended is really good. And yeah, pick it up. I don't care how you pick it up. I'll provide their Bandcamp link in the description below as well. And yeah. Anywho, this was a review on GloryHammer's Tales from the Kingdoms of Fife. Great album. Would recommend, but would not recommend consistently listening to every 5 minutes or so. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Anywho, how I'm going to be structuring this channel, this is a separate segment. You can skip past this if you want. I don't care. I'm going to be structuring it a little differently. I'm going to do 1 video per week, 1 to 2 videos, I mean. And I'm going to hope to keep it consistent. It's a little hard right now. My work schedule is all over the place because we just reopened, which is where I will apologize. I was supposed to release a video on Monday, and it's Friday. I do apologize for the late video, and I appreciate if you stuck around for the whole review. You really didn't have to, but it's always nice. And yeah. Anywho, thank you guys. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, laters.